right now there is a toddler staying safe and staying home with his mom and dad. Right after he was removed, mother and father got to work, doing anything and everything in their power to get their son home. But in the meantime, rent needed to be paid. So we reached out to One Can Help, who was able to swoop in, pay the back rent, and stabilize housing so that parents could focus on their engagement in their evidence-based services and have a home for their son to be reunified to. And that's exactly what they did. He went home a few months ago.
In one of my cases, I represent a 5-year-old girl who was recently placed in Dorchester with 2 of her younger siblings. When I called to check up on her, the foster mother told me that my client was unable to access the school's digital curriculum during the current public health crisis. This was especially troubling because my client had had so many academic problems and had only started making major progress right before the schools were shut down. So her school wanted her to do certain assignments and participate in group chats and attend question and answer sessions with her teacher, but she wasn't able to do any of that. Before I knew it, there was a laptop heading my way via Amazon, and I was able to leave that at my client's placement. I just checked in, and I'm glad to say that she's now able to get online and participate in all parts of her school's digital curriculum, and hopefully will hang on to those gains that she's made.
During this pandemic, things have been really tough for many. With the schools being closed, parents are finding that they have to be teachers to their children without the necessary tools to complete this huge task. One Can Help has responded to all of my requests to fund laptops for my students and other necessary items so that the kids can have the least interruption in their schooling as possible. On behalf of my clients, my community, and myself, thank you, One Can Help, for being committed to helping the underprivileged families at this most difficult time.
I'm going to share with you a story in which I represented a client whose son was removed from her care due to her significant mental health issues. Mother was able to regain custody. One of the conditions of custody was that she have her son visible in the community and in daycare. Mother was able to secure a daycare slot, and she had a car. However, her license had expired and her registration needed to be renewed. She didn't have the funds for either of these things. I submitted an application. She was able to take her son to daycare. One Can Help made all the difference in the world to this young boy and this mom. Poverty can hold good people back, and interventions like One Can Help can truly make a difference.
For those of you with a teenage boy in your life, you know that they eat a lot. And that is certainly true of a 16-year-old boy who I represent, who had been living in foster care until his group home closed due to the pandemic. He was placed with an aunt who very much wants to care for him and make him feel welcome and not like a financial burden. But she's a personal care attendant with very limited financial resources. My client is super eager to get a job and really wants to work at a grocery store, but doing so right now would put his aunt's clients, most of whom are elderly and in fragile health, at risk. But feeding him is really a challenge for his aunt. And so enter One Can Help, who was able to provide very generous grocery gift cards, allowing my client to feed himself freely and continue to make himself healthy meals in a way that also nurtures his bond with his aunt. This has been amazing because it's taken care not only of my client, but of the frontline worker who is stepping up to care for him. So thank you, One Can Help. You give people hope in hard times, and you are the source of more sighs of relief across this state than you know.